Patrick, guess what came in the mail today?
Oh, what?
This.
Stick it in!
Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to another episode of the M&K Productions Podcast. I'm your host, Mac, joined here as usual with my co-host, my confidant, Miss Flamingo, aka Kristen. Kristen, how are you doing today?
Good, it's me. Hi. If you get that, that's a Taylor Swift thing.
No, I don't listen to Taylor Swift. You know this.
I know. I just wanted to do a Taylor Swift moment right now.
But anyway, we're back with another episode. Our last episode, what was our last episode we did?
It was Guardians of the Galaxy 3.
Guardians of the Galaxy 3, which is over a month ago, but it's near the end of May. It's near the end of June, and we're going to start.
And to be fair, we did record that episode at the end of May, and released in June. So
yeah, but anyway, it's okay. We're going to get a lot better. But we got a nice, exciting episode for you today. We're going to be in celebration of Across the Spider-Verse doing very well in theaters. This is going to be a part one or part two, two-parter podcast, because on this episode, we're going to be talking about 2018's Into the Spider-Verse, and the next episode we'll be talking about Across the Spider-Verse. And I'm really excited for this because I love Into the Spider-Verse, and dare I say it, it is possibly tied for my second favorite or my first favorite Spider-Man movie of all time, because nothing can be Spider-Man.
You're not wrong. A lot of people have ranked it. I definitely rank it as one of the best ones out of the entire Spider-Man stories and adaptations of it, and they could be all involved in the same universe, but I won't talk about that too much because that it would involve the new film. But we're gonna just talk about the first film today.
Yeah, so we're going to talk about Into the Spider-Verse. We're going to go into some film news, particularly talking about a certain Pixar movie that is bombing right now at the box office. And then we'll be getting into some box office reports and saying what we've been watching so far, because I have just finished the entire Fast and Furious series, because I just recently watched Fast X at the time of this recording.
You deserve a gold medal for that.
Yeah, if we're all said and done, I think we should get right to the news. Shall we, Kristen?
Yes. You want to say it?
All right, let's get right into the news.
Yes. Kick us off with our first story, Mac.
This is CNN.
All right, so the first news story of this topic. Kristen, were you aware that Pixar has a new movie in theaters?
I was aware, and I was aware about this movie coming out.
Yeah, it's called Elemental, and it does not look exactly, the main character looks exactly like Osmosis Jones, so that's where the comparisons ends. But Elemental is a new film. It follows Ember and Wade in a city where fire, water, land, and air residents live together in harmony. And it's a classic love tale of Ember, who's a fire person, falls in love with Wade, who's a water guy. And, it's a classic love story, trope. Pixar movie, everyone goes crazy, goes to theater. But unfortunately, this movie is not doing well at all at the
financially.
Box office. Financially, critically, it's sitting at a 70% Rotten Tomatoes, which that's not bad. Like it looks like a cute film, but at the time of this recording on June 21st, it has only grossed $29.6 million worldwide out of its $200 million budget. Actually,
Ouch.
No, technically, it's only made. Its opening box office weekend was $29.6 million, which is a very low, especially for 4,000 theaters. Its worldwide total gross has only been $55.7 million worldwide.
That's not a lot for a Pixar film.
And just for context, I'm going from the Box Office Mojo statistics here. So first day it made $11.7 million in box office, but by Saturday there was a 16.1% drop. So it only made $9.8 million the second day. Third day, it dropped 17.7%, and we only got $8 million. And then by Monday, it was a 34.3% drop, and that was $5.3 million gross that day. And then yesterday, at the time of this reporting, it had another 6.6% drop, and it only grossed $4.9 million. And it has not been number one. It's been stuck at two. It's 2 on Friday, and then was 3 until Monday, and then yesterday on June 20th, it was number 2. So, Kristen, what does this say about Pixar? Because this and Lightyear are tanking at the box office, and I think so far this is doing worse than Lightyear, because I think Lightyear made $224.4 million of his $200 million budget, and while it broke even, that was still considered a flop because you have to think of marketing costs and all that.
Yeah.
So, what does this say about Pixar? Do you think Pixar needs to rethink their strategy because they begged Disney to bring it back to the theater, and this is kind of what's happening?
Yeah, I think that's could be an issue. I think star quality could be a thing. Plus, we have right now, as we're the topic of today's episode is the Spider-Verse. I mean, we also have Transformers, so there is so much to see right now.
Mm-hmm.
I think people are choosing wisely with their money and their ticket choices and what they want to take to their families or what audiences want to see. And I feel like right now, a lot of audiences are just like, like about the Pixar. If they're going to see animated, I think they want to see Spider-Verse, to be frank. Given how well the film is doing based on word of mouth, it involves Marvel and involves a great cast. There's so much what the Spider-Verse has going than what Elemental has. I'm sure Elemental is incredibly sweet and endearing from what I've talked to from multiple people. And it's just not aiming, well.
That's the thing to consider too, because I can count on one hand all the Pixar movies that I consider are like not great, but they still have like even the most like underwhelming ones. I still kind of like. I'm one of the few people that actually enjoy Good Dinosaur back in 2015 because I love the animation and I like the design of Arlo, the dinosaur. But with Elemental, I saw it and I'm like, okay, this looks kind of interesting. But when I saw it, I'm like, I feel like we've seen this before. That's the problem I'm having. It's like I feel like this is the same story, just a different type.
The way I see it as is like. I don't know. Someone could go ahead and correct me, but it gives me like Zootopia vibes.
Yeah, exactly. No, I agree wholeheartedly because I said the same. Like this looks like Zootopia, but with elements.
And I love Zootopia too.
Same.
It's like one of my favorites, and I don't know. Like it's not for me. Like I think with Pixar, you have like at least someone like Chris Evans was able to draw at least I think in some star quality to it because they were like, oh, it's Captain America doing Buzz Lightyear. Sure, it wasn't like Tim Allen, but people were like, oh, I want to see it because of Chris. And it's a known property. And for this is a different property. It's not like Inside Out, but even though we are getting like Inside Out 2 next year, it's just like they're still generating off the same properties that they already done, but I don't think what they're trying to expand on and tell new stories is working.
Yeah, because even like going back before like here we had Turning Red, which it did well, but it was very polarizing with critics and audiences alike. It's a very divisive Pixar movie. Not for like a bad reason. It's just like a lot of people said it wasn't that good. A lot of people said it was great, and I was like, it was okay, but I won't like go and watch it.
Do you remember Onward? Remember that? That was the thing before the pandemic?
Yeah, that came out on Disney Plus, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, we're immediately right after that. So
well, that's the big thing too. It's like we'll say this one thing and then we'll move on to your new story. You think because the Pixar had been doing the Disney Plus release route let's see. So since 2020, they had Onward, Luca.
I love Luca. Luca was definitely one of my favorites.
What else was there? Soul. And then I mean, you want to consider Turning Red and Lightyear on that, but Lightyear came to Disney Plus later. But you think what people is just now they are using a God, how do you say this? Okay. Do you think people are just gonna wait for just to come on Disney Plus to watch it? Or is it the fact of like maybe Pixar movies, new original Pixar movies should stick to Disney Plus, while the sequels, like apparently there's rumors where there's gonna have confirmation when you get Toy Story 5. Do you think the more well-established properties should be in theaters, while a lot of the in-house studio ones, our new ideas, should be on Disney Plus?
I think they could mess around with that idea of like original properties like that are already established head out into the theaters because like we all know financially with Toy Story 5 happening, it's gonna do well. There's no doubt about that. But for something like Elemental, I think it would have been safer. But I respect the idea of putting it out in theaters and them to take a risk. I feel like it would have been easier just to release it on Disney Plus.
Yeah, but they'd be like, they were complaining they haven't been able to release their movies in theaters, but you know, that's kind of just what happened.
Mm-hmm. Moving on to my Disney story.
Yes, please, God, move on. Little Mermaid makes you depressed.
Well, I know you don't watch the series, but I thought it would be nice to talk about. But High School Musical, the series, is set to end with season 4 with a premiere date set and a teaser trailer released. And now here's a thing from Deadline. The upcoming 4th season of Disney Plus's original series, High School Musical, the series, excuse me.
Musical, the series.
With all 8 episodes dropping on August 9th. That's huge for
Wait, so they're releasing all the episodes at the same time?
That's what it says. The first line on the second line on the
ballsy.
article. Because when I watched the series, because I did watch this, I watched the series since I am a High School Musical fan.
Mm-hmm.
They did it like weekly, so I'm surprised they are doing all 9 episodes at once, and that's, I guess, is like their new thing. They're just gonna drop them all at once and just say, all right. So now the show's conclusion was announced on social media by the creator and executive producer Tim Farrell.
Mm-hmm.
Farrell? I don't know. Okay. After 4 years at East Highs, it's time to graduate. This will be our final endgame season, he wrote. This show brought the most extraordinary cast and crew and collaborators to my life. To the fans who embraced our super meta series, we don't not love you. We can't wait to share this epic 4th act with you all. So, with that, this series is bringing back some of the original characters that we've seen. So, and that includes Corbin Blue, Monique Coleman, Lucas Grabeel, Bart Johnson, Allison Reed, and Casey Strohs, who are all set to play themselves.
But Corbin Blue, so does this take place in the same universe, or is this a different universe?
So since it sounds like you didn't watch the series, right? I just want to So in season 1, it was established that like High School Musical was a film. And all the kids either watched it or just was like, oh yeah, it's High School Musical, blah. It's not like it wasn't like part of the generation that you and I grew up with. Like everybody knew we're all in this together. So it's kind of like, it's very meta. So I agree with the creator. So, but it's brought out a lot of stars to it. It's got Sophie Weil, who worked with Paul Feig for the Netflix film with Charlize Theron and Kerry Washington. It was like called The School for like Bad and Evil. One of these girls got to go on Broadway and was nominated for a Tony. Joshua Bassett, is like one of the rock stars and had that relationship with Olivia Rodrigo. And then Olivia Rodrigo became like this big pop star.
Oh, so yeah, I do remember you told me that's where she got her started.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and to be fair, Olivia Rodrigo was also on Disney Channel too. It's just now she's a pop star. So yeah, the series is gonna end. It's gonna air on August 9th. I'm gonna watch it. I'm just excited now that we got these original cast members coming. However, earlier this year, we did get a photo of Zac Efron returning to East High. So does that mean we're going to get a cameo from Zac Efron? Question mark?
Maybe if he
I would love that. I mean, I would love that. I mean, who knows? Sharpay, Ashley Tisdale could show up, even Vanessa Hudgens. I would love that. I don't know what could happen with this series. I'm going to watch it. I'm going to is it great? It's fine. It's a series. It's made for children. But Mac, moving on to your story.
Yes. So, do you know about Jennifer Lawrence's new film, No Hard Feelings?
Yeah, at first I wasn't going to see it, but now I'm like kind of enticed and be like, okay, maybe I want to see this now.
So apparently, the Rotten score for her movie is out, tomato scores, and apparently it is another low score, and it's a disaster. She has a disastrous Rotten Tomato record dating back to 2015.
Really? Have all her movies been rotten since then?
Well,
Oh, okay.
66 isn't rotten, but
On my end, it now says 61.
oh well, and it. Oh, okay. Actually, the record actually is that since Hunger Games ended, 66% of her films have been rotten.
Let me see.
So
I gotta see
some
this.
some of them are Don't Look Up, X-Men: The Dark Phoenix, Dark Phoenix, Red Sparrow, Passengers,
Mother.
X-Men Apocalypse, and now No Hard Feelings are some of the one uh that actually technically, yep, No Hard Feelings sits at 56% Rotten Tomatoes and a 94% audience score. So, Kristen, are you a fan of Jennifer Lawrence, and are you looking forward to No Hard Feelings? And why do you think she's having trouble with her films after Hunger Games? Are people just kind of getting sick of her?
Okay. I really like Jennifer Lawrence. I think one of my favorite movies of all time is Silver Linings Playbook. I love that film. I love American Hustle. It just also could be because of the project she was picking. And she was also a point in her career where she kind of did retire a little bit. Remember that? She like took a break from acting.
Yeah, because like one of the last movies she did was Don't Look Up.
So she took a break. I just think now I think she's at a point in her career where she's just choosing what she wants. And I don't think she's listening to her audience, and she doesn't have to. I mean, she's got money all these days now from the Hunger Games, so she doesn't have to worry about nothing. But plus she's got her Oscar. So I don't know if people are really like enticed to see her as like this movie star, as like I think she was like kind of setting herself up to be like years ago. I think nowadays people like, I want to say Ana de Armas are like setting themselves up to be like the movie star. I don't think she's like the movie star, you know.
You know what's funny is that you remember that movie Ana de Armas did Knock Knock?
Mm-hmm.
I keep seeing that everywhere, and people are like, is this movie supposed to be funny? And it's so awkward.
Not only that, I just find it funny now that like years later, she's gonna be starring in the same franchise as Keanu.
Yes, very good irony.
So I don't know. What do you think about J Law?
Jayla. I kind of just saw her as just like a product of just the Hunger Games hype, because at that time, like, she was red hot with the Hunger Games movie, and then like you wanted her to be in everything, and she kind of was in everything because she did X-Men 2, like First Class really blew her up too, and it's just the point where like a lot of people were like, well, she's all right. Ooh, hiccups. She's all right, but it's just the fact that like there's, besides the Hunger Games, I just don't see a range to her. Like a lot of the roles I see her as, I either see her as Mystique or Katniss. Okay. So like I watched Red Sparrow and I just kind of saw Katniss mixed with Mystique, and that movie was so awkward too. It's like you have to use sex to get what you need, the information. You're a spell. And the thing too is that like a lot of her movies that she did was good. Like, I mean, she did Silver Linings Playbook, but that
remember was Mother? I hated that movie.
I mean, it's a Darren Aronofsky movie, so you're gonna love it or you're gonna be confused and hate it. And I remember when that came out, it was marketing itself as like a horror movie, but then years later we realized, oh, it's a Bible allegory, but it was just very poorly written and told.
Remember she dated him?
Did she actually date Darren Aronofsky?
Do you remember? Okay, Sydney, you don't know. There was like this thing I saw. They shared like a lollipop, which I felt really creeped out by.
Wait, how old is he?
I think in his 40s.
How old is she?
This was like when she was in her 20s, because now she's like in her 30s.
Ew.
This was like, his Mother came out in 2016. No, 17.
Oh, 17.
Yeah, because I remember that time, just a period in my life. I remember going to see it. And she was with them, and there's like this whole press thing. I should send you the photo, and it was just like so bizarre. It was like a lollipop or like gum or something like that. So Darren Aronofsky, let's see, where's the lollipop? Y'all can go look it up, but it's there. Yeah, they're sharing the lollipop. Kids, keep your candy to yourself. If you want to eat it, go get your own. I know they're adults, but I'm like, ew, go get your own.
But like, lollipop. But yeah, like with her, there's not really like that. Passengers was so weird. I was so uncomfortable watching that movie. You're talking about like
I thought that movie was so dumb.
it was dumb and it was a little creepy when you think about the plot.
Yeah,
Especially like, well, we'll spoil it. Who gives a shit about passengers? Like,
that movie was released in 2016. I remember that was going to be like the movie because it was like Jennifer Lawrence and Chris Pratt. And then they had that steamy scene,
well,
like they were marketing as.
Well, you know what's creepy? It's the fact that Chris Pratt wakes up early and like he wakes up early and he's like, oh, I'm lonely, and he's gonna kill himself. But he sees this one girl. He's like, you know what? Let me ruin it for her and wake up her crow's bed. I'm like, that's kind of creepy.
Mm-hmm.
And just
not just that, not that he wakes her up, he just like
lies to her.
Like lies to her and like kind of like just forces himself like on her in a way. It's like she has to fall in love with him, and it's like this weird toxic behavior that is set out to be sexy, but it's not. I'm just like, no. But Chris Pratt is handsome, so.
Well, I mean, it's either space or just Chris Pratt, so that's the funniest thing. But with all that, like, I don't know, she is a fine actress. I think after a point, I can see why she got sick of doing what was it? She got sick of doing what the fuck's it called? Oh, X-Men. Mm-hmm. And that's why they killed her off in the earlier one.
Right. So I don't know. I don't think audiences loved also the same way as Jennifer Lawrence either. You know?
Mm-hmm.
So I think now that she's just has her career set, she has her life kind of set, I think she's just doing what she wants to do. And that's one of them is being no hard feelings. So girl can do whatever she wants. I think I'm still going to see no hard feelings, but does it look weird how a older woman has to fall in love with, or like make this young boy fall in love with her? Yeah, but I don't know. I'm going to see it for how it is. It could be really bad. So maybe I'll report on it next time when we record. All right, let's move on to my final news story. Rupert Fine joins New Line's sci-fi thriller companion from the Barbarian team. You know Rupert Fine, right?
Yeah.
Because I was just going to say, if you don't know Rupert Fine, do you remember Agent 47?
Mm-hmm.
He was Agent 47.
I know.
Alrighties, but this Rupert Fine is joining the cast that includes Sophie Thatcher, Jack Quaid, heck yes, Lucas Cage, Megan Surrey, Harvey Keitel, as this film is, plot details are still being kept under wraps. New Line acquired companion in a competitive situation following the multi-studio bidding war for Barbarian filmmaker Zach Krieger. Krieger's new horror film, Weapons, which Krieger is producing. Did you see Barbarian?
Some clips of it. I didn't watch the whole thing. It's
really, really good. I recommend y'all go watch it, because right now, here's a thing that they should do. Barbarian's not available to like own on physical copy.
Really?
Yes, which I find kind of like annoying. And somebody made like a tweet about it, and I was like, yeah, why the hell have I seen this movie like anywhere at the store? Like, I wanted to pick up Barbarian because, first of all, I saw it in theaters and I really dug it a lot. Like Justin Long and Bill Skarsgård, I was like, yes. And Zach Krieger with the direction, yes, sign me up. This movie was great, and I enjoyed it a lot. So
well, the funniest thing is too, my mom watched it and she said it was weird, but she kind of enjoyed it.
Yeah, it's very weird. It's very, very weird, but there's still something to enjoy about it. This is coming from not Zach Krieger himself, but from the team of Barbarian, because Zach Krieger is working on a different horror film. But am I going to watch this companion? Absolutely. So I don't know. That's my news story.
Wait, I have one more breaking news story as we speak 2 hours ago.
Breaking news.
So apparently, Bad Bunny's Spider-Man Universe movie El Muerto has been pulled from Sony's release schedule.
I heard that this morning. I thought you were going to talk about that.
No, I didn't. I just saw it just now from 2 hours ago. But
Wow.
that's reporting to Deadline. So I remember that was the headline when because the Craven the Hunter trailer came out, and that was interesting. They're like, oh, Bad Bunny's gonna be El Muerto because that's definitely something everyone wanted. Like, I'm not like an anti Bad Bunny. I kind of like him, but it's just like, why do you want him in a?
Do you remember him in Bullet Train?
Yeah, he was awesome with that. He was funny. So it's like, I don't know, but having him as a comic book character that no one really knows unless you're a hardcore Spider-Man fan. Like, I didn't even know who El Muerto is or Muerto.
No, I didn't know either, but I was like on board. I was gonna be like, all right, I'll watch it.
But so we'll see what happens if that's gonna be canceled or not. But yeah, that's my news story too. So if you have any news stories, you want to leave it down in the comments below or send us a message at M&K Productions on Instagram to see what we may have missed and everything. But I think without further ado, let's move on to the topic and let's go into the Spider-Verse.
When do I know I'm Spider-Man?
This was never your city. It's mine.
You won't. In the end, it's a leap of faith.
Can't stop me now!
Hey guys,
Who are you?
I'm Spider-Woman.
If we don't work together, none of us will have a home to go home to. We taught him that, right?
I didn't teach him that, and you definitely didn't.
Into the Spider-Verse.
All right.
Ooh. Yeah, you know that song. Today we're talking our topic. Since this is part 1 of part 2, today we're going to be going over 2018's Into the Spider-Verse, which is Sony Animation's first theatrically released Spider-Man film. And this movie took the world by storm and is considered by many to be maybe the best, if not the second best Spider-Man film we've gotten in theaters. And that's some tough competition.
And it did win.
Yes.
The Academy Award.
Yeah, but if you don't know about Spider-Verse Into the Spider-Verse, get familiar. Here's what we got. Into the Spider-Verse follows new Spider-Man Miles Morales, who's from the comics, so we'll talk about more. And it follows him as he becomes Spider-Man in his world, and he has to team up with other Spider-Men from different dimensions and just find out who he is as Spider-Man. And it's such a great movie. And let me give you a quick history lesson. So when the time Spider-Verse came out in 2018, let's just say Sony Animation's reputation was not the best because a year before we had the Emoji movie that came out. So when they announced, hey, we're doing a Spider-Man movie, everyone's like, ah, shit. It is animated. But this is what happens when you have a Phil Lord writing your screenplay and the animation is amazing with it. Into the Spider-Verse came out and it did, I don't even say it did well, it did tremendously in theaters and home video. Because not only did it make $384.3 million of his $90 million budget at the box office, like Christian mentioned, it won an Academy Award for Best Animated Film.
It did.
And it's good. There's so many aspects with this film that just work. You got you have great writing, great characters, amazing animations, great visuals, and banging soundtrack with, especially the main song Sunflower by Post Malone and Sway Lee. It's like so much went into this film that in a way it should have never been well done. It should have never been good because they should have known right for it, but it exceeded everyone's expectations.
Basically blew everybody's mind out of the water.
Yeah. And when I saw this, my stepbrother was going through a bad breakup and I felt bad for him. I was a little sad. So my friend's like, we're gonna go see Into the Spider-Verse. And we saw it and I knew it was a good time because the thing with Spider-Verse too is that they make a lot of meta jokes with Spider-Man as a character, because there's a joke in the beginning of the film where he's like, hi, I'm Peter Parker, and I've done this and this, and this, he had the Spider-Man dance and Spider-Man 3, and we all popped loud in the theater, and I loved it. It was great meta jokes like that. And this marked one of the last few appearances of Stan Lee, because we're going to be spoiling this movie. In the movie, Miles's Peter Parker dies by the hand of Wilson Fisk, and he gets bitten by the radioactive spider, and he has to become the new Spider-Man to stop Fisk from destroying the multiverses in the world. And he goes to the comic shop on the day of Peter Parker's funeral because the world finds out he was Spider-Man. And Stan Lee's like, hey, it fits anyone. And that made me cry because that came out a month after he died. It made me cry a little bit.
Oh, hang on. Sorry, I dropped my microphone. So you might have to repeat that last part. Sorry.
Oh, so the part when he got his costume into the costume shop and Stan Lee was like, it'll fit anybody. That made me cry a little bit because that came out that movie was out that came out the month after he died.
I didn't realize it until when I was doing my little bit of research for today's episode, and I'm just kind of annoyed that I didn't get accessibility to rewatch it, because the only way I can watch this is through FX, live TV.
Who the hell watches FX?
No, but I didn't want to pay for it either. If I saw it, I was just like, I'm not going to pay to rewatch this again. But
I own it on DVD. So
I want it, and I don't own it, and I'm really, really sad.
I think you should get it, especially since we're going to get the second one in next year.
Yeah, I really want the new one too, as well. So I'm hoping that they release a duo pack, maybe.
Possibly. I wouldn't be surprised once the third one comes out. It's a triple pack. But
now
Kristen,
you're gonna make me think and save my money.
But Kristen, what did you think?
I'm a sippy.
Oh, what did you think of Into the Spider-Verse?
I loved it when I saw it in theaters. I was blown away. I think the best part about the Spider-Verse is how incredibly unique and wild the animation is and style for it, because they do so many crazy things. There's different types of animation in that film that blew my mind.
Mm-hmm.
And it fascinates me with every single little frame, and not just that, all the characters, and just how everything to the Spider-Verse film feels perfect. How it was executed from the casting. I haven't liked a Haley Steinfeld role this much before until Into the Spider-Verse, and since Edge of 17. Did you ever see Edge of 17? That's a great film.
Yes, that's made me fall in love with Haley Steinfeld.
There are so many great things about the Spider-Verse. So, I remember though, one of my favorite things is about this film is that Phil Lord and Christopher Miller were attached to this, and those two are my heroes. They really are. So, I'm not going to go into why right now, but Christopher Miller was a producer, but Phil Lord wrote the screenplay with Ronnie Rothman. And I thought, at that time, I was like, why wasn't 23 Jump Street being made? Where is this? And then knowing that they were attached to this, I was like,
the funniest thing with them is they attached their name to a lot of stuff, and I don't even think they haven't really made anything in years. Actually, they haven't developed anything.
Well, the thing is, they are a part of the After Party, which is part of the Apple series. So,
well, still, they haven't. The last movie they've actually directed was 22 Jump Street.
Mm-hmm. So,
and that was 7. No, that was 9 years ago.
That is showing my age.
And they've just been producers and writers, and because they wrote. Well, actually, they almost directed solo a Star Wars story. I'm sorry with that, but yeah.
Mm-hmm. Thank God they left that.
Yeah, but they're still left on executive producers. But yeah, because the only movies they've done directing was Claudia Chance Meatballs, 21 Jump Street, the Lego Movie, and then 22 Jump Street. And the rest of them, they've just been writers and executive producers.
I love them as directors, but I understand why they didn't do this one. But I love what makes the screenplay really great for this movie, that knowing that Phil Lord is attached to this. If you read the screenplays for, I want to say 22 Jump Street, especially towards the end where it gets very, very meta, and it pokes fun at itself, kind of what Into the Spider-Verse kind of does a little bit, because there's so many variants of Spider-Man that it just kind of makes sense knowing why that Phil Lord was attached to it. And if you look at the writing style of Phil Lord and Christopher Miller, it makes perfect sense why they are attached to this and why they are producers of it. And it just makes very, very sense to me how the whole thing is also executed.
Yeah.
Too, just from their side as filmmakers. So I love that, but I forgot too that Amy Pascal was also a producer of this.
What's her name? So familiar. Amy Pascal.
She's also
Oh, okay. Now that makes sense. She's still there?
yeah.
So if any of you guys don't remember or don't know, Amy Pascal is part business chairperson of Sony Pictures. Well, she was, but she got fired from the company. But she has her own production because due to the Sony email hacks, she had multiple emails that were deemed racially insensitive, and she started her own production company.
But she is attached to this somehow.
Yeah, so that's crazy. Like
she is a part of the new one too.
The name sounded so familiar, and I was like, "That's the name I did hear." Because many don't remember, there was a hack at Sony, and people thought it was North Korea for the interview, and a lot of stuff was revealed, not just for Amy Pascal. I think one of the more interesting things that made me sad with the email hacks is, what Gendy Tartakovsky, the creator of Samurai Jack, he was originally going to do a Popeye movie for Sony.
I think now that in the discussion we're having right now, because of the Sony email hacking, I remember Popeye being mentioned.
Well, it was the heads of the studio were like, "Hey, he's being such a team player. He's actually, because he was doing Hotel Transylvania and like Hotel Transylvania, so they're like, he's being a team player. He's using the notes Adam Sandler's giving him. So can we reward him with Popeye?" And the executive said, "No, we don't care." And that sucked because I knew he was like, if I just do everything they want me to do, I'll do Popeye, and never happened.
I wonder who would have been the voice of Popeye then.
There is a test footage that came out years ago that would be in that.
Robin Williams did his own Popeye film.
That's the best one with Shelley Duvall. But Spider-Verse.
Anyways,
we love it. Spider-Verse is awesome.
Spider-Verse is awesome. I think I have to ask you this. What is your favorite version? Because we got many
Spider-Man
versions.
Noir.
He has the best line in that film. Okay, so just so you're all aware who we're talking about in Spider-Man Noir. Spider-Man Noir is voiced by our favorite Nicolas Cage.
And pretty much Spider-Man Noir, his version it's Peter Parker in the Great Depression era, and he's just a very gritty type Spider-Man, but he's like the noir type of Spider-Man, and it works.
And I would love this if they just turned this into a live action, like not live action, but like another
a
film
series.
Of it,
would
a
be
series
cool.
of not even that. Like I would love to see all these characters have their own.
I mean, we kind of got that because what was it? The Shattered Dimensions is kind of the early version of Spider-Verse.
Okay.
Oh yeah, you don't play video games.
No. I haven't played the games yet, but Dylan wants me to.
Shattered Dimensions is it's Spider-Man, the regular one, and it's the Amazing Spider-Man. Then it's Spider-Man 2099, and it's Spider-Man Noir. So they all kind of combine to team up.
Gotcha. Okay. I'll have to ask Dylan then if that's part of the games. I don't remember if he played that, but he's played
That was years ago. That was 2010s.
Okay, then he probably didn't play it. Okay. Well, now I'll have to tell him to play it.
Yeah,
but going back to Spider-Man Noir, he has one of the best lines in that film. In we're into the Spider-Verse, and it's "Where I go, the wind follows."
Yeah, because
the wind smells like rain.
Because they're in the basement. Because Aunt May was like, "You might want to need these," and he goes, Peter was like, "Where's the wind coming from? We're in a basement." And then he said that he said it too because it's just Nicolas Cage just being Nicolas Cage. It's kind of funny.
It's a very fitting for him, and I love the way he just.
My favorite part is I sometimes let him mash on my fingers so I can feel something, anything, but nothing. He's like I mentioned before, the writing in this movie is funny because my favorite thing is when they introduce each Spider person, they always do the same thing. It's my name is Penny B. Parker, my name is Peter Parker, my name is Peter Porker. Can we talk about Spider-Pig too? He's like one of the best characters in the film too.
Yeah, and also to acknowledge John Mulaney, he has the perfect voice for like any cartoon or animated like film, because like he was great in Chip and Dale's, not Chippendales, I mean Chip and Dale
Rescue Rangers.
Rescue Rangers. I liked him a lot in that with Andy Samberg. Thought that was really cute.
Mhm.
He's great here, and then I liked him a lot in Puss in Boots: The Last Wish. Like he's great in that too.
But yeah, I love him as that. And I like the ending when he gave him the hammer. It's like you can fit it in your pocket. It was so emotional.
John Mulaney just like I said, has the perfect voice acting. Like I don't see him as like an actor. I see him as like this cartoon animated guy.
Oh, same.
Like that, and it's just his performance is kind of hammy.
But I think that's the point too.
Get the point of that? Because it's
Well, no,
Spider
because
Ham.
it's think about it with the hammy performance. He's like an old timey cartoon, so I can kind of see why he was going for the whole ham, that he was hamming it up because he's just having fun with it.
When I was thinking about this, all I could think was of the stupid Simpsons movie that came out. Spider Pig does whatever a Spider Pig does.
Can he swing? Draw a web. No, he can't. He's a pig. Look out. Here's a spider pig.
Yep. He was bitten by a radioactive pig.
But yeah, I love this. Stop it. Yeah, what's another good aspect of this movie? Oh, it does have some good emotional moments too. Like, it's revealed that Smiles' uncle Aaron is the villain Prowler, and he gets killed by Kingpin because Prowler doesn't know that Miles is Spider-Man, but he doesn't kill his nephew, but Kingpin shoots him, and he's proud of Miles for finding his own way, and then he dies, and then the cop thinks that Spider-Man killed his brother, but it wasn't. And
that makes me want to spoil so much about the new one.
Yeah, but but what I liked about the theme about Miles Morales with Miles as a character, if you're not a comic book nerd, are you?
Okay, go ahead, talk.
So Miles were introduced, I'd say probably around 2013, 2014. And he wasn't really well received at first because people, they're like, oh, they're replacing Peter Parker with this new guy and everything, and cue racist comments and stuff like that. But after a while, he started to become like very popular because they're actually writing him as like his own character. They weren't writing him as just like Peter Parker, but different name and skin color. Like they had given him a compelling story, some good villains. And then Secret Wars happened, and he had a big spot in that, and everyone really loved him with it. So they made him the mainline Spider-Man in the comics.
Okay.
And what I assumed was going to happen is that they're going to push him in the comics first, then slowly bring him in and like see what people reacting to it. And this was the first big test, and it worked because after this, he was in the video game with the first Spider-Man game on PS4. He had his own game on Miles Morales on PS5. He's going to be in Spider-Man 2, the video game, and then he has the sequel movie. So, and then there's rumors that they're finally going to bring him into the MCU. So it's just a matter of time before, like, what I like about Miles is that it kind of shows that with Spider-Man, you can have Peter Parker, but if you make a character that has a good, compelling story, Spider-Man can be anyone under the mask. And I think that's like the point of when they're making it. Because even someone like Gwen Stacy, who was a great Spider-Man or Spider-Woman, like, that she's not like her. Each Spider-Man in these movies, what makes them unique is just the way they do it. So like with Miles, he's very flashy and like, he has to exaggerate his
He's a nerd. He's a nerd. Just he has the same aspect to Peter Parker, who's also a nerd, but just different, I guess, little quirks that are different from the other Peter.
Yeah, and then Gwen, she uses ballet in her fighting style. Spider-Man Noir is that tough, gritty 40s fighting. Spider-Ham is the cartoon.
Is a pig.
He's a pig one, and then Penny Parker is like the anime robot one. It's all.
She's cool too, who does not get enough credit.
Oh yeah, no, I love her too. But it's like each of them have their own unique style, and that kind of like goes in the message of the movie of like trying to do things your own way. Because Miles is like, I can't be Spider-Man, and Peter tells him like, first thing about being Spider-Man is you take that first big step or that first big leap. And that icon, the most probably one of those beautiful shots in any animated movies when Miles jumped off the building.
Yes.
Glass, and then the song's like, "Well, what's up, danger?"
Yes.
That symbolizes Miles taking that leap of becoming Spider-Man because he painted the suit black and red that we know him for, and then he had the Air Jordans on, and he just jumped and he just took that first leap, and then he became Spider-Man.
Absolutely, you just touched on that really perfectly.
Because
I applaud you for that,
dude. That scene that in IMAX was so. If I can go back in time and see that movie in theaters, I would. Because that scene when he jumped, that was.
Did you see it in IMAX?
I saw it in IMAX.
I wish I did because I didn't get to see it. When the time I went to go see it with my friend, just the time and stuff, I had to see it at a normal 2D format.
No, I saw it at IMAX. It was so beautiful, and
I bet it was.
People were cheering, and because that's how good this movie was.
It's so good.
Then the ending when he was chilling in the bed, like because throughout the whole movie we met every single one of the Spider-Man people, but we never met Miles. And then at the end he's like, "All right, let's do this one more time. My name is Miles Morales, and I'm Spider-Man."
Yeah.
And then he plays in the ending because what I like about the song "Sunflower" is like, "Needless to say, I keep her in check. She was all bad, nevertheless." Is that Miles listens to the song? It's not like a song made from the movie. It's in universe. That song exists, and he doesn't know. Yeah. He's like, yes. And at the end, you hear him playing his headphones, and then you see a portal open, and Gwen's like, "Miles, you got a minute?" I was like, "Oh, let's go! We get Spider-Verse 2."
And also, did you know Post Malone is like makes a little cameo in it? He's just like just a bystander.
Oh, I didn't know that.
You didn't know that?
And then the after credit scene was hilarious because we meet Miguel O'Hare, Spider-Man 2099, who is a big part in the second movie. They have a little joke with the iconic Spider-Man pointing meme where he's like, "No, you were Spider." Like, "No, I'm trying to tell you something." He's like, "Which one's Spider-Man?" He's like, "Yeah, but they're both Spider-Man." Like, that was funny. But yeah, Spider-Verse is an amazing film. If you have not seen Into the Spider-Verse yet, I highly recommend watching that before you see Across the Spider-Verse. And Kristen, you've seen Across the Spider-Verse, correct?
I did. We'll talk about that next time.
Do you think you should see Into the Spider-Verse first so you know what's going on? Or no? Could you go into Across the Spider-Verse? No.
My fiance and I wanted to rewatch the new one, and since we didn't have like access to watch, at least looking back for Into the Spider-Verse, what we did was, we caught up on like whatever YouTube videos we had access to, and we went right in. And I think as you watch those, I still recommend you to watch though Into the Spider-Verse, because cinematically it's beautiful and unique, and just like, but if you don't have access, totally watch the videos on YouTube. But I swear, just watch it. It's great though.
Great.
I think though, to understand a little bit more of the story, if you want to get more backstory for the new one, then rewatch the film. So, because the post-credit scenes of Into the Spider-Verse, because I did watch at least the post-credit scenes of the last film, and it helped going into the newer film. Because I forgot about the post scenes that happened for Into the Spider-Verse. So, but I also want to acknowledge one more thing before we go into the box office. But do you remember when Chris Pine was a part of this?
Yeah, Chris Pine was the Spider-Man that got killed in.
Yes, and he has a Christmas song.
I do remember that they went hard with the marketing. It's like, oh, this is the Chris Pine Christmas song, and it's like one of the worst, because that's the thing too with all the jokes, because he mentioned Spider-Man 3. He's like, I had a weird popsicle and it wasn't that good. Like, they mentioned all of the jokes, and then one of the jokes was the Christmas song, and they actually released the Christmas song.
I have that saved on my Spotify playlist of film songs, so I just wanted to acknowledge that before we wrap up.
But yeah, check out Into the Spider-Verse, and
highly recommended by both of us.
Yes, definitely one of the best Spider-Man movies, and I'm excited to watch Across the Spider-Verse, and I'm curious to see what Beyond the Spider-Verse is going to set for next year.
Yeah, because it's going to be, by the time of this recording, I'm sure we're going to be like, oh, remember when we talked about Into the Spider-Verse? Because it's coming out like March of next year. Like, that's like really cutting it close.
That's close, yeah. So that means, well, this has been in development for a couple of years now, because the First one came
Yeah,
out.
because first of all, we had COVID, so that really set us off. So, and then knowing that we couldn't make it into like one movie, we had to divide into two. I was like, okay, game, let's do it then. So,
but let us move on to the box office report, shall we?
yeah.
All right. So box office reports for this past weekend at the time of this recording. I did mention earlier that Elemental is bombing right now in the theaters, but another film is horribly bombing. Kristen, what's that other film that's bombing?
The Flash.
The Flash is well, I wouldn't say it's bombing. It's just very, very underperforming right now because number one coming in is The Flash, actually with $55 million grossed. Number two is Elemental with $29.6 million. Number three is Across the Spider-Verse, which is $27 million made. Number four is Transformers Rise of the Beast, which is $20.6 million. Five is Little Mermaid, $11 million. The Blackening, number six with $6 million. Seven is Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3, $5.2 million. Number eight is The Boogeyman with $3.6 million. Number nine is Fast X with $2.1 million, and Astro City clocks in at number 10 with only $855,300,
which is huge, I must say, for Asteroid City, because that's like a specialty box office result, because that only opened like in select theaters like in New York and LA. And knowing that Wes Anderson is like, you know, one of the hottest, you know, directors, and like, you know, an artiste director, like the auteur, as I, you know, say with a French accent, tried to a degree, opening up the movie across the globe, you know, starting this weekend. So we'll see how that does financially as the film goes up against No Hard Feelings. I don't think No Hard Feelings will go top box office. If anything, I see it going towards like a number 4 or number 5.
I feel like that movie's gonna do well streaming, better streaming.
I mean, it could, but I think we're going to see like a higher rate for like Asteroid City more than No Hard Feelings, because I'm going to see Asteroid City as of this recording tomorrow, so I would have already have seen it, so because I haven't been to the movies since Across the Spider-Verse, so I knew I needed to go see this.
I just went last week to see Transformers.
Yeah. So that was the last movie you saw. Anything you want to catch up on before we have to go? You can tell audiences you saw recently.
Yeah, so I watched Fast X at home. I rented it for $16.99. Well, I didn't rent it. My mom rented it for me, and I feel so bad.
Mama Mac. She's like, I'm gonna treat my son. And
I felt bad for her. I think she weighs $16.99. Fast X is it's the one film that genuinely like broke me, because I had to really think about it. It took me like a week to realize like, what am I?
And process your thoughts.
Yeah, I did the review at 2 a.m. So I was half asleep, just formulating thoughts, and that's more cohesive than when I watched. The only parts I'll say I like about it is that Jason Momoa was an entertaining villain, and there was actually racing in it. Also, shout out to Alan Richardson. I kind of like this character, but like everything else is so batshit insane.
I feel like I haven't really watched anything that was like recent, like even of TV, because I was busy with Tribeca. So shout out to Film Fest Report. I got to speak with a lot of filmmakers and directors. And if you guys want to see what I've got to watch, head on over to Film Fest Report, because I got to speak with one of my heroes, and that was Gabrielle Copperwaith, who has a film called ISS. And I basically was like worshipped by this woman. I was like, girl, you're like one of my heroes. And it was the best interview I've ever had. And I
saw that. I'm so happy for you.
I was so happy, and she was so freaking nice. I love her so much. So if you guys get to see ISS, known as International Space Station, go check it out. I won't reveal details, so go check out the interview. And I got to talk to some pretty kind of like high profile people, which I can't say who yet. And their film comes out in August. So be on the lookout for that. So please go on over and support Film Fest Report. So
all right, but
I did get to see some good films, so that'll come out. But next time we are talking, of course, into the Across the Spider-Verse, and and we'll hopefully have a guest. And then we're also gonna do Oppenheimer, right?
Yeah.
That's also an upcoming episode before you go on vacation.
Yeah, and then on vacation I'll be seeing Barbie.
Yes, I'll be seeing Barbie as well as Oppenheimer opening weekend.
Nice.
So that's what you have to look forward to for the summer, folks. So for now, please subscribe to the channel, support us on Instagram, and do all the fun stuff by supporting us in any way you can. So Mac, you want to close this out?
All right. Thank you all for listening to this episode. We'll see you all next time. Peace.
Bye.
You in the lane you came with. Me and you ain't on the same shit. You ain't in my lane, bitch. Nah, all that shit it fit. Rollie on my wrist. Ay, baby, you a star. I'm my only wish. I'm counting blue hundreds. I'm too money. Ay, and my little bitch, she too lovely. Yeah, hanging up and calling me right back. Ay, baby, why you calling me like that? Yeah, getting high with the seat, lay back.